Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to the Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. My day was definitely something. I had an exam today and I honestly can't tell how I did, and I unfortunately am letting it dictate my mood for until I get my results, which I honestly don't get why it would take them 10 days to grade a multiple choice exam. Isn't that supposed to be automated and we just get the results immediately? Like, that's the whole point of implementing technology to make life more efficient and faster and easier. Like, sure, you may adjust the scale, but to take 10 whole days to tell me if I have passed or not is just torture. I don't know if I'll be alive in 10 days. I hope I'm alive in 10 days. Well, in my bachelor, they would take always at least a month. I'm not over exaggerating. Like, they would take a month. By the time we would get our results from the exams, let's say now, it would be time for next exams, and you would only find out you have a resit a week from today. And that was just so fucking stressful because you had to prepare for your current exams on top and then the resit, and it was just like too much. So at least there is an improvement. Like in my bachelor, if they took only 3 weeks, we'd be surprised at how fast they graded it. But there it was like somewhat justified, kind of, because the exams were always about writing 3 to 4 essays in 2 hours. So I can see how that would take more time to grade. But a multiple choice quiz, like, come on. That being said, I am somewhat like, despite not being too happy with my performance, and this is not coming from my perfectionist side, it's just I really cannot objectively say how I did, but I am still happy and relieved that it is over, at least for now. And I know that no matter how much I sit and contemplate whether I should have chosen B or C, it is too late now. And this exam had been stressing me for 3 weeks, and I'm happy that it's done, at least for now. Because considering how we had no time to prepare, and especially the 3 days prior to my exams, I couldn't do anything to prepare because I was otherwise preoccupied, I was just stressing. And considering the circumstances, this was everything I could do. I gave it my all, and my all better be good enough to pass, because when the reset is supposed to happen, I'm supposed to be in Bulgaria already. And this is the canon international student experience where you naively book your tickets before your resits, because you're like, oh, I'm going to study so hard and not have to go to the reset because I'm going to ace it from the first try. And this is a very big gamble and a very expansive gamble. And I don't think it was my best performance when it came to the exam, because I was getting like super distracted. My lack of preparation to the side for a second. I was super distracted, and I would just not read the questions to the end and would not read all options, which for a multiple choice quiz, that is the only thing that's asked of you. But I just could not do it for whatever reason. And for some of them, I fully went based off of intuition and hashtag vibes. During that exam, I was just like super like mentally somewhere else, and I could not focus for the life of me. And the guy next to me was shaking his leg the entire time, and this was the only thing I could focus on. And also, like, the only other thing I could think of was Dandelion by Ariana Grande, which is an amazing song. But this is such a rookie mistake that I made. I listened to music before going to my exam, knowing well that I would require a lot of dedication and focus and concentration. And I was just listening to music to distract myself. And after I re-listened to So Close to What for the 100,000th time, I went to listen to Ariana Grande, as one does, because hello, it's Ariana Grande. And I was just like trying to distract myself, but I distracted myself way too good, well, and I was just like unable to regain focus. And I should have listened to a podcast because podcasts are a nice distraction. They're entertaining, and like I cannot sing along to them. Sure, I may think of something stupid that I listened to and giggle during my exam, but I'm not going to sing along to whatever stupid thing the Basement Boys said. Not that those Basement Boys are stupid, not at all. I love them so much. Guys, I'm so happy I became obsessed with them because they're my current besties and I love them so much. And I honestly regret not getting into that podcast earlier because it is so entertaining. It is exactly my sense of humor and I love them so much. So shout out to the Basement Boys. I feel like I shout them out in every single episode or every other episode, but they're legit like my current thing. Like in every single free second I have, I listen to the Basement Boys, the BJ Boys. So I should have listened perhaps to them, but Ariana Grande prevailed, and I may not be able to sing along to a podcast, but I will always and forever sing along to an Ariana Grande song because, hello, vocalist of our generation. And this just reminds me of when I was in high school and we would have one of those, like, you would have different tiers of exams, and you would have your regular exams and you would have your classwork, which is more heavy. It requires more preparation and carries more weight in formulating your final grade for the semester or the year. And I just remember every single time before the classwork, which is basically writing an essay, but my teacher in particular was very, how do I put it? She had a lot of requirements, justifiably so, and she really wanted us to write quality pieces, which of course is what you would want from your class because she was our head teacher. So she had big expectations for us and a lot of requirements. And my teacher was so anti-chauga, which is a particular pop folk genre that I don't know how to explain chauga, but like it has influences from Arabic sound and it's just like Balkan. Just so Balkan. And my class, not my friend. I mean, like, I don't know, like, no, she's my teacher. She's not my friend. But like, my teacher was so anti-chauga, and ironically, every single time before our major classwork, I would just have this one song from this one particular artist. To all my Balkans listening, I'm referring to Aziz, of course, the it girl of Chauga. And I would just like be singing Aziz all throughout, like in my mind, I would just be singing his songs all throughout the examination. And that was just so ironic because I couldn't have picked worse time to do this. And I don't listen to Chauga actually. I mean, I had this one dark period of my teenage years for like a few months or to a year. Actually, dark period is, I retract that statement because I feel like it carries an implication that listening to Chauga requires that you're in a dark period, and it portrays a certain narrative which I don't think is correct, or like it might be like perceived as shameful, which is not what I'm trying to do at all. So I retract the statement. I'm not implying that listening to Chauga is something that is bad. It's just the culture surrounding Chauga. It just perpetuates a certain narrative surrounding values, morals, and predispositions, which I don't necessarily align with. But if a song is a banger, a song is a banger, and that's not bad. So the exam was an hour and a half, and I was done within 15 minutes. But you cannot leave until after 30 minutes after the start of the exam. So I tried my best to focus and I proofread everything twice, and it better have been enough. And when I got up to leave, my friend, she was sitting in front of me, and on her computer, I just peeked while I was like gathering my stuff, and I saw that she was only on question 20 out of 30. And that's when I knew I probably fucked up, because I was either overly confident with my knowledge or undermined everything and fucked up significantly. And let's just hope that it's the former and there is some substance to this confidence rather than the latter, and I would have to reschedule my flight, because booking that flight set me back a few rands. Yay! I love when going to Eastern Europe is more expensive than going to Australia. Make it make sense? Anyways, because like the thing is, I honestly would not know how to prepare again for this exam, because I feel like I exhausted my preparation in the time limit that I had, which was significantly limited, and I just really don't want to have to go over this again. That is honestly my main drive when it comes to studying and doing things and like not procrastinating, because my mentality is, if I do it now, I don't have to do it later. And this is why I put a lot of effort into preparing for exams usually. This time I would have put a lot of effort, but I didn't have the time. I had in total from Thursday to Tuesday morning to prepare, and Saturday I was in another city, which is when I last spoke to you, and I went to this birthday party. Monday and Sunday, I don't know why I reversed the order, but still, I had 8.5 hour shifts and I was just fried and unable to function after that. Friday, I also worked. So realistically, I only had Thursday evening, and that was just not enough. And don't come around here and tell me, oh, you should have started preparing earlier. I've been preparing since day one. It was not enough, because I got my final materials for the exam on Thursday, and that was fun. But the thing is, the problem is, I have this cockiness when it comes to exams now. And what I mean is, I approach them with the I'm not stupid mentality, which is nice because I know I'm not stupid. But sometimes it also leads me to undermine the complexity of whatever I'm studying. And just because I have been smart up until now in a certain field doesn't mean that this is going to continue and progress in the future, especially if I'm just relying on past knowledge in a field that is so not relevant to the one I'm studying now. Well, not relevant, but it's just somewhat distant. But for now, it seems to work, because also that is the thing about doing a pre-master. It is still very much bachelor level courses, and I'm not saying that those are not challenging, because they are, but they're a completely different realm of academia than the one I studied extensively for 3 years, which is why I think they are challenging. But in my mind, I just go, I graduated from my bachelor. I wrote a whole ass thesis. I can do a silly exam for my pre-master. How hard can it be? What? Like it's hard? Maybe like I shouldn't undermine things, because this is how you start losing your grip on whatever it is that you're doing. But that is a problem for future me. For now, it seems to be working. And again, I'm not putting effort. I'm actually putting a lot of effort into my studies, which my host mom from the UK constantly tells me, you're studying too much, live a little, which she's right. But like also this is just how I've been, and I have, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan and no study delays are to be experienced, I just have 1 more year, and after that I will not have to study as extensively, and I will just study whatever I'm interested at with no deadlines. And this is the thing I'm longing for, studying without deadlines, because I enjoy learning, but I don't like doing it within the system that our education system is. Because, like, I just don't like the constraints that are being imposed on us, because I think that I would have learned way more if I was studying out of ambition and curiosity rather than following a predetermined curriculum. Anyways, also, by the way, I forgot to mention this because you know how I love setting the scene. I have one of those like blackhead removal masks on my face, like the ones that you rip off and you basically cry because they're pulling your skin from your skin tautology, whatever. But so I have that on my chin, my nose, and my T-zone. So basically, things like areas which affect the way I speak. And when this thing stiffens and reduces eventually my mobility in my face, just know that this is why I may sound a little bit off. I should have started off with this. Anyways, it's not like you care. But the thing is, I felt like doing a mask was like an easy and nice way for me to show myself a little self-care after the exam. Although I don't know why, but doing my skincare recently has been such an ordeal. And lately, I just cannot bring myself to follow through. Like, I even forget to put on moisturizer, let alone sunscreen, which I know is hyper hypocritical considering what I tell you every week at the end of every episode. But I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, do as I say, not as I do. But still, despite my inability to stick to a skin regime, skin routine, I decided that and like it literally takes 2 minutes. I know, no need to make me feel shitty for being unable to stick to a 2-minute routine. I already feel shitty enough. But still today I decided that I am going to at least do a mask so that I can take care of at least one aspect of myself. And sure, I didn't wash my hair, even though I initially thought about it. But the thing is, it just did not fit my logistics, because tomorrow I am working and I'm not going to work with clean hair just to get it dirty, because tomorrow at work I'm closing, which means I'm only going to be cleaning, which means that in the process of cleaning I am going to get dirty. Because you know what my sister always tells me, and it's actually mind-blowing, that there's no such thing as cleaning. You're just removing trash and dirt from one place to another. And it's just, hello, that's so interesting that you just cannot get rid of dirt. You just displace it. And then the day after that, I am going to the airport to pick up a friend, and I'm going to be in the train for 7 hours. And I am just not washing my hair to go and sit in one of those seats that have not been washed since they were installed at first. So that means that I'm not going to wash my hair for 1.5 evenings more. So I apologize for everyone who is going to encounter me in the next 48 hours. And of course, knowing my luck, tomorrow when I look absolutely atrocious and I look like some godforsaken creature from Lord of the Rings, I am going to see Michael B. Jordan. I just know it. I can feel it in my bones that are hurting because I'm 23. So washing my hair is just a challenge. It is dedication. It is a lot of work. It is like I need to clock in for a shift when I have to wash my hair, especially if I want to do it properly, because my hair is quite long. It's been growing like crazy recently, which I'm super happy about because I like having long hair. Well, the thing is, I like having long hair. Like, I want to have long hair when I have short hair, and I want to have short hair when I have long hair. But now I'm in my long hair era, and it just makes me feel young because this is the only thing I need right now, because I am fully freaking out about being 23. I don't know if I've mentioned this in the last 5 minutes, but I am freaking out about growing older. So this, it just makes me feel youthful and fun and enjoyable. So I am going to stick with it for a little bit because my hair I am growing out with purpose. So the thing is, washing my hair first, let's do it one by one. Washing my hair is a lot because my hair is almost down to my waist, which stunning but also a nightmare to keep up because keep up is not the that's not the Kardashians. So like why would I keep up? Like take care of because it takes super long to wash, let alone blow dry. Or if you want to style it, which I personally am too lazy to do, like good luck with that. Good luck, Charlie. And don't tell me to cut it short because it'd be easier to maintain. I am a woman on a mission. I am growing my hair out to donate it because when I was in the 10th grade, so 16, 17, my hair was down to my waist again. And I had a very, like, my mental health was not the best back then. And I one day woke up and had this spontaneous emotional decision that I need to enact significant change in my life, which meant that I went to the hairdresser, a hairdresser I had never been to before, which was the one and only time I cheated on my hairdresser, and I only get my hair cut in Bulgaria to my regular hairdresser. But that one time I was just like, I don't know how she would react, so I just didn't go. And then I waited for my hair to grow a little bit before I went there because I was like, I didn't want her to feel betrayed. Like, not that she would honestly care because I don't go to the hairdresser that often, but still, like, I felt disloyal and like I didn't want Chris Brown to sing how disloyal I am. But I went one afternoon and my hair from being down to my waist, I cut it to above my shoulders. And because it was an emotional decision, it was not rational. I did not think about the repercussions. Like fuck me, like I don't give a shit. Like my hair grew, but like I'm super pissed at myself that the hair back then I did not donate because it was just thrown away. And I, oh my god, this haunts me to this day. And since that moment on, literally since I left the hair salon and realized what had happened and that the hair was already in the trash, I realized my mistake. And since then, I have been growing out my hair so that I can donate it because I feel like this, if this is something I can do, I should do it because I am lucky enough to, even though I'm a little bit balding right now, TMI, like being super vulnerable right now. I am balding because of stress. But my hair grows and I am lucky enough to have hair, and I want my hair, which again I'm lucky enough to have, to share that luck and enjoyment and confidence that it brings me with someone else. And that is why I'm not dyeing it. That is why I'm not treating it in any harmful, hopefully, way. I am trying to use okay-ish products because I want my hair to make someone happy. I feel like this is just such an easy way to help people out and contribute to their self-confidence because I feel like we tend to forget how big of an impact our hair makes, especially when it comes to women. And not to make it a gender thing, but like a lot of pressure is put on women's hair. And for instance, there is a certain image of femininity when it comes to hair, and any deviations from that can cause a disruption in your self-perception when it comes to femininity because there's this toxic image of a linear form of femininity that is and that has been instilled for decades and even centuries. Well, even though like beauty changes over the years, now I feel like we're pretty much all aware of the current beauty standard. And honestly, I feel like it might be super liberating to just shave your hair off for the sake of it because it is in a way pushing against those beauty standards and crossing boundaries that shouldn't have been set in the first place because no one should be entitled to tell you what you should look like. Because what is the point of having a beauty standard that everybody should adhere to when everybody looks so different by nature, just innately? And it's crazy that we all have the same bones, same organs, yet we look so different. And that is fascinating and beautiful and should be celebrated rather than unified to perpetuate a certain image of what we think humans should look like. Because, newsflash, humans should look like humans. And that's on period. And I feel like those beauty standards are eradicating our diversities. I mean, that's the whole point of a standard, that it is something you adhere to and it's something you strive to achieve. And what makes us unique, which is what makes us like the world colorful, is our differences, our diversity. And if we all look the same, if we all strive to have the same chin, the same nose, the same eyelashes, the same lips, then where is our individuality going to go? And I'm not saying that it is something to be ashamed of if you adhere to those beauty standards, because I myself put myself down for not looking like them. And I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you do or don't adhere to those standards. It is your own personal choice, although sometimes that choice is taken for you and instilled in you, and you internalize it and you perceive it that it's your choice, even though it's just imposed on you from the outside. But I'm just saying that maybe we should strive to put more emphasis on individuality. Because, of course, I'm not saying anything revolutionary now, and this has been a trend recently, but there is still so much work to be done when it comes to beauty standards and embracing individualism rather than imposing a particular image that everybody should adhere to. And there have been changes that are to be noticed in modeling and magazine covers and media representation, and they're really nice, like a really nice start, but we're nowhere near fulfilling the goal of embracing diversity. So maybe we should. Wow, I literally said nothing like to contribute to the conversation, but whatever. But whatever. I just felt like I needed some me time after the exam, even if that me time just consisted of me doing a face mask, scrolling through Instagram without feeling any guilt. Because even in my exam preparation time, I was still getting distracted and scrolling through Instagram, but I felt guilt about it. And now I don't have to feel guilt about it. And it's just like, what do you mean I get to go home in the evening and don't have to go over 60 pages of materials? And I get to watch something like a movie or a TV series if I'm not too tired. That is just crazy. And I'm super appreciative of it that I get to do it now, even if it's just going to last literally only until tomorrow morning, because tomorrow morning I need to start preparing for the other course, which is very, very fun and very exciting. And not to complain, because again, like, I get to study. I don't have to study. I get to do it. It's a privilege that I get to do it. But guys, I'm just burnt out. Like, it's almost summer and I'm in a summer mentality, and I just want to be able to enjoy my days without having to study theories. And here again, I'm saying having and not getting to. So like, I have those mixed up in the moment in my head right now because of the burnt out. So anyways, Saturday, which is when, again, I last talked to you guys, I went to this birthday party and I was really debating whether I should go or not, because it was like, I could have used that time to study because I was off of work. So I initially was like, oh, I'm just going to dedicate this to preparation for the exam, because my exam was, well, today, Tuesday. And on Sunday and Monday, like I already told you, long shifts and whatever. And on Sunday and Monday, I still tried to study, but whatever I would read would just not get into my head. And I was reading in between the lines and just reading words. And at a certain point, I stopped comprehending any language, not even English, any language. I was just like, oh, letters. Those letters, do they make words? I don't know. Do those words have a meaning? I don't know. So my brain was scrambled eggs. And I was really on the verge of canceling that birthday party, but I'm so glad I didn't, because I had so much fun, like, honestly. And my original idea was to go and spend 2 hours there and come back and study. And what I ended up doing was I spent like 7-8 hours there, and that was so extremely worth it, even if I don't pass the exam with flying colors, or just if I don't pass the exam. And I'm not saying that I'm judging and blaming the party for my potential failure. There were other factors which contributed to my lack of preparation to the level in which I would have desired to be. But it's just really nice to remind ourselves that it's okay in a moment of chaos, in a moment of busyness, in a moment of need to take a rest. It is not shameful. It is not something to be embarrassed about, that you want to have fun. Oh my God, how shameful. Burn her on a stake. She wants to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Hello. But when you have tasks to do, or things to tend to, or deadlines to meet, you are still entitled to having fun. You're literally just a human being. I'm a human being. And you deserve to have a little bit of rest. I deserve to have a little bit of rest. You deserve to go for a walk. I deserve to go for a walk. You deserve to meet a friend, even if it's just for 30 minutes. I deserve to meet a friend if it's just for 30 minutes. You deserve to be by yourself and have your me time. And I deserve to be by myself and have my me time and just lay on my floor, because I haven't had floor time in such a long time. I desperately need to ground myself and be one with my floor. But my vacuum cleaner broke and the new one is supposed to arrive tomorrow. So I cannot lay on my floor because it is dirty. But the thing is, we tend, or at least I tend, to always say, oh, I don't have time for hanging out and socializing because I have work and university today. And I'm not saying that I'm making up excuses. It's just those are like things I have to tend to. And that goes on for weeks on end. And sometimes I literally socialize twice a month, if. And while this makes socializing extremely meaningful and something I look forward to, because it's rather rare, again, supply and demand, it's just nice to do it more on the regular, because the point of life is not to meet a deadline from your university. The world is still going to keep on spinning if I fail this exam. The world is going to keep on spinning after I clock out of my shift. And it is going to keep on spinning before I clock in for my shift. And I believe that this exam and my shift are not going to define my future. I don't feel like this exam is going to be my butterfly effect, but me going to that birthday party and having a positive distraction, having a bit of fun, and allowing myself to free myself from the constraints of university and work, which is where I have to exist all the time, was a really nice reminder that life is so much more than an exam and an 8-hour shift after that. Life can be enjoyable, and life can be fun, and life can be enjoyable and fun when you're busy. And life should be fun, and life should be enjoyable. And I really hope you all, and me included, get to have fun and get to have a fun, enjoyable, pleasant life full of exhilaration from the ordinary that is not defined by deadlines. That your life and my life are not constructed as a pre-exam and post-exam, as pre-shift, post-shift. Sure, your days may be structured or scheduled around those things. And yes, your life is the constellation of your days, but I just feel like I should try implementing having fun at least for an hour a day, which is quite a lot, but also maybe just sufficient. I don't know. It's just the same way I need to be alone for 30 minutes to an hour every day just by myself, I should allow myself to have fun. So today, absolutely nothing that has to do with anything that I just said now, but still, today is the 6th of May, which in Bulgaria is a very big holiday because it is St. George's Day, and we also commemorate Bulgaria's army. And one of the main things is that you celebrate by eating lamb. That is the main dish that you're supposed to have on St. George's Day. And for the 4th year in a row, I'm not eating lamb, but Now I'm missing my grandma's lamb because she makes it so good, so tender and so good. But honestly, I miss it, but I don't mind it that much. And in fact, when I moved here, I significantly decreased my consumption of meat overall. And it took me eating vegetarian slash vegan for a bit to actually realize how significant and prominent meat is in Bulgarian cuisine. Because the thing is, we literally eat meat with literally every single meal of the day. If you have breakfast, you're going to have a sandwich with wukanka or ham and cheese. For lunch, you're going to have something with meat. And then in the evening, you guessed it, you're going to have something with meat as well, but most likely on the heavier side. So meat consumption is very big in my culture. And honestly, sometimes veganism and vegetarianism are looked down upon, and honestly, they're always questioned. I've never met a vegetarian or a vegan in Bulgaria who has not been questioned why they are implementing that dietary lifestyle that they are doing. And whenever you tell someone you don't eat meat, they will make sure to let you know how they would not be able to survive without meat. And sure, things are definitely changing right now, but this is still quite a prevalent view. And when I came here, I just stopped eating meat. Initially, it was purely for financial reasons at first, because well, that is tautology again. But the thing is, meat here is ridiculously expensive. And it was ridiculously expensive 4 years ago, let alone now when things are getting worse and worse every single day. And that was also when I realized how, I mean, maybe not affordable, but attainable meat is in Bulgaria compared to here. Not cheap, but more affordable. And that is also when I realized, and like again, I guys, before any Bulgarian texts me, I know we are in a pickle. I know our economic state is not great. And I know that like as someone who makes money in euros, when I go to spend it in Bulgaria, I'm like, this is so fucking expensive. So shout out to all my Bulgarians who earn money in leva and spend money in leva. Well, which is almost every single Bulgarian, but you guys are soldiers. You're resilient. I respect you so much. And again, it's expensive for me, and I earn money in a stronger currency and go to spend it in a weaker one. And I have so much respect for you. And I don't know how our people just manage to survive in those circumstances. Well, it's not like it's not like there's a choice. Anyways, let's switch back to meat. That is when I realized and started appreciating how in Bulgaria, not only when it comes to meat, but just produce in general, but meat specifically, we have many, many different types. We have a wide variety. We have so much meat. And because in the supermarkets here, you don't have the same system the way we do in Bulgaria. The meat section, the way we do it in Bulgaria is, so you go to the supermarket, you go to the meat section, and you tell the person working behind the counter what type of meat you want and how much you want. And there's basically a butcher in every single supermarket. And here in the supermarket, everything is pre-portioned. Meat, fish. Yeah, sometimes when you buy tomatoes, they're pre-portioned. If it's not the loose tomatoes, they're pre-portioned. So everything is pre-portioned. So I would either have to feed a family of 4 with the portion of meat I was buying, or it would not even suffice for a single meal because I eat a lot. I may not look like it, but I eat a lot. And sure, you can go to a butcher and get the same experience, like you go and you tell what meat you want and how much you want, but it's more expensive, obviously. And it being more expensive on top of the already expensive is, I don't know, expensive. And I mean, of course, the meat is also completely different when it comes to quality, aka it's better, so it's justified the price. But as a student, when you are balling on a budget, it's questionable. But I stopped at first eating meat because of financial reasons. And I just started experimenting with veganism and vegetarianism, and it turned out to be something which really spoke to me. And now I'm not vegetarian or vegan anymore, but I predominantly eat vegetarian and vegan, and I'm enjoying it. And I don't think I'm malnourished, which I think is a ginormous misconception when it comes to that type of diet. And yes, I do feel satiated, and no, not everything tastes the same. And no, I don't get tired of vegetables and fruits. And the thing is, when I first moved here in August 2021, and the first time I went back home in Bulgaria after moving here was in December, meaning that for 4 months I hadn't eaten any meat. Also, I'm a little bit scared when it comes to cooking meat for myself, or just not for myself. Like, well, I would be more scared to cook meat for someone else than for myself, because if it's on me, it's on me. But I don't want to be responsible for someone else getting a salmonella. I don't know. I'm just like quirky like that. But the thing is, when I went home in December in 2021, having not eaten meat in 4 months, I was not craving it anymore. What started out as financial reason was just like, I don't want it anymore. It was not something I needed to feel satiated. I was a bit even put off by the texture and by, of course, the approach behind it. And let me tell you, this was not taken super well from my Balkan family, and especially because my dad is a hunter. So meat is absolutely crucial in our family. My parents make their own sausages and dried meats and whatever. And still, my parents were more accepting, but then when it came to my grandparents, they simply could not comprehend how I would be satiated and would willingly not eat meat. And there is a generational difference, of course, in the sense that they grew up in quite a scarce economy where eating meat was an event, because it was either rationed if you were to buy it, or if you'd have if you have animals, you would have to slaughter one of them to have meat. So I get it how they are struggling to comprehend how I, who have constant access to meat whenever I want, whatever type of meat I want, don't want to eat it. But they so couldn't understand it that it came to the point where they would just take it as a personal offense that I did not want to eat the meat in the dish that they had cooked, knowing that I'm going to visit them, which I get it, because they had waited for months to make me my favorite meals. But the problem was that I no longer craved my favorite meals because I no longer craved meat. Like, I would eat all the vegetables, but not the meat, because I just didn't want to. And they just simply did not get it. And the same thing happened actually with bread. Bread here, well, it's not good. I am used to a different quality of bread, especially when I was growing up. The bread, oh my God, to every single millennial/Gen Z from Bulgaria who's listening to this now, I am going to unlock a memory you forgot you had, but a memory that is going to bring you so much coziness and joy. So growing up, the bread we had in Bulgaria was just mouth-watering. It was amazing. And I know you're probably thinking that I'm just reminiscing on something and remembering it better than it was, but that is not the case. It was just phenomenal fresh bread that you would get from your local bread factory. And if I was at the countryside with my grandparents, there was this bus from that bread factory that would just come to the village 2 or 3 times a week and bring your freshly made bread. And the walk from where the bus would stop back to the house was no more than 10 minutes. And in those 10 minutes, more than half of the bread would already be gone because we would just be unable to contain ourselves. And I cannot tell you how many times when I was little, my mom would pick me up from kindergarten or gymnastics or school or my grandparents or whatever. And there would be fresh loaf of bread in the back seat where I was sitting because I was a child. I was not going to sit in the front seat. And I would just nibble on it. And then whenever she'd ask me what happened to the bread, I would just tell her that she bought it like this, half nibbled on. And there have been times when she has believed me because she was like, oh, no, do I have to go and return it now? What if someone ate it? Like, what if it was a mouse? And I was like, it was me. So, man, I am bringing myself down memory lane. And sure, it may be just bread, but it wasn't just bread. It was like a full loaf that was not pre-cut. It was fresh and super golden and crispy on the outside. Like so crispy that like it was crumbling and super soft on the inside, and you could just snack on it the entire day or the 10 minutes it would take you to swallow it all. And you would just feel happy because the bread was breading. And then that type of bread died out little by little, and pre-sliced bread entered the picture. Guys, do you remember the time when bread was one left? I remember thinking when I was young, when someone would tell me, oh yeah, this thing costs 100 leva, and I would be like, that's 100 breads. And now bread is like two something, and it's like I am unable to do my bread math. Bring back bread math. Bread math is the original girl math. That is why I hate the economic state of the world right now, because shout out Jaden Smith. Every single time I say economic state of the world right now, I just think of him. So I'm sorry, but like, hello. I am your age, kinda. I think, I don't know how old you are, but like we're the same generation. I am talking about the economic and political state of the world right now. Bring back bread math. Bring back bread that cost one lev and was from the stop saying loco bread factory. And so yeah, that bread kind of died out. And the pre-cut became more popular than those fresh baked breads, and now they are the standard. But still, even if pre-cut, bread in Bulgaria is really good. And when I came here, I didn't like the bread because I didn't like the texture. I didn't like the flavor or the lack of such I just didn't like it. So I didn't buy it. Like every now and then I would go to Little's bakery and buy a baguette or something, but like still it didn't fulfill my bread needs. So for those 4 months, those initial 4 months in my life here, stopped eating bread and stopped eating meat. Go and tell that to a Balkan family and expect not to start a war. They will think you're crazy. And my grandparents were not only super personally offended by me not wanting to eat the meat, but then also when I told them, no, I don't want to eat 4 slices of bread with my meal, they just could not get it. Which again, I understand, especially considering the environment and the political economic state of the world back then. Because being raised in scarcity and being raised in maybe not abundance, but attainability, create very different mindsets and approaches to food. And honestly, fruit. For instance, I don't appreciate bananas and oranges the way my grandparents do. And trust me, I love bananas and oranges and tangerines. Oh my god. Trust me, I love those. Cut me, I bleed bananas. This is always what my colleague says, like whenever we talk about Bulgaria. He's like, cut me, I bleed Bulgarian. So, cut me, I bleed bananas. But the thing is, oh my god, saying cut me. Yesterday at work when I was like doing the dishes, guys, it was crazy because I was lifting the thing we put in the dishwashing machine, dishwasher to put it on top of the rack, and then one of the knives just jumped and fell and cut me on my head. It was just a little bit, but then from my hand it bounced and went towards my eyes, and I was like, it took less than a second, but I'm so happy I could react in the moment and just like move, because I could have, okay, eye patches are slayful. They look good, but they look good not on me. And I don't want to have to wear one. So I'm very, very happy that I could move, because I would like to be able to keep all my organs. And now I do have a little bit of a cut, but it's okay. It's just a little bit. But like, can you imagine the lawsuit I would have had and how much money I would have made? Anyways, cut me, I bleed bananas. But the thing is, during communism times, like communist times, those were attainable on New Year's only, and the amount you'd get was rationed, and it would depend on how many people you have in your family. And now I can just go to the store and buy as many bananas I want, however many times a day I want, and maybe I do take them for granted, but still I adore them so much. So thank God I was born in a post-communist era, not because of everything else. I mean, also because of everything else, but also because now I can have bananas and oranges and tangerines whenever. Although, if you don't have them, you maybe don't crave them, which again is what happened with me and meat and bread. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I just stopped having them and no longer wanted them. And yes, now I don't need meat and bread with every single meal to recognize it as a meal, but perhaps before moving here, I was like this. This was the way I used to eat, but after those initial 4 months, things had changed. And now, 3 to 4 years in, I'm just somewhere in the middle. I still hardly ever buy bread. I buy my bread from this bakery that's only open on Tuesday during the Tuesday market, and I only buy ciabatta from there. So a rather specific type of bread, but uh I buy sliced bread hardly ever because I just don't think it's necessarily great. I only buy it when I eat avocado toast. And I haven't been able to find like good avocados recently. I haven't had an avocado in more than a month, and I used to have like at least one or two a day, which I don't like. This is going to send again every single balcony into a spiral, because in the like whoever is spreading the false rumors that balcony breakfast or whatever the trend was includes avocados, the balconies didn't know about avocados up until like 2 or 3 years ago. So you're fully misspreading, like you're fully spreading misinformation, because my grandma tried avocado for the first time this year. My parents initially thought it was like a rotten apple that I'm serving them, because it's not something we usually have. So anyways, and now with meats, I don't buy meat. Or why did I even start this whole tangent about meat? What? Oh, St. George's Day. Yeah. Um, so I personally don't buy meat, or if I do, it's rarely. Like every 3 weeks, if. And I eat meat here if I'm working and I'm eating at the restaurant where I work. So I'm just like when I'm having my shift meal I'm having it with the meat from the restaurant, which arguably is not meat. So they're supporting me in my transitionary preferences when it comes to food. So I'm not longer exclusively vegan/vegetarian, but if I didn't have meat or bread with my meal, I would still be totally okay. And in fact, this is the way I cook for myself. And when it comes to me cooking meat, that probably happens like again once a month or twice if we're being generous. Because the thing is, I really like the taste of vegan meat options, and I really like tofu. Oh my god, I love tofu. And one doesn't have to be a substitute for the other, but it's just my personal preference in the moment. And this is not something I'm doing consciously. I'm not like on a purposeful mission to eradicate my meat consumption, although from an ethical viewpoint, I totally think I should. It's just the stage of life I'm in right now. And maybe if I decide to move back to Bulgaria, I will be eating more meat. But as for now, I'm good. And you know what's blowing my mind? Who found out that meat is edible? Like, I mean, of course, humans are predators and carnivores by, well, no, not by nature. Because actually, that's not true, because gatherers were a thing and they survived on plant-based diets. So maybe we adopted a carnivorous lifestyle. Guys, I find anthropology fascinating, but don't take your facts from me. I'm just here to ask the important questions. And one of those important questions is, who figured out it? Like, how did you figure it out? Is it like an instinct, or did they just observe that animals were eating animals and they thought they'd give it a try? Like, how did you find out that eggs were edible? Chicken eggs, how did you find out that they're edible by humans? How does one wake up not knowing if those are edible and just go and think, I am going to eat that chicken embryo? And I feel like this is an interpretation definitely of the pro-choice movement, and I'm all here for it. It's just very interesting. Like, who figured out that what's edible and what's not? I mean, of course, everything is edible. It's just that some things are edible only once. But who came up with recipes? Who figured out that if you turn wheat into dust-like consistency and you mix it with a chicken embryo and water, you knead it and put it in a warm enough space, it is going to create bread? That is just so mind blowing to me. Like, who and how and why and what? And have we reached our full recipe potential yet? Or are we so path dependent that we have constrained ourselves? Has anyone ever made pasta with chocolate? Is this the new thing? Did I just create the song of the summer? Or have we eaten tomatoes with peanut butter? Like, technically, tomatoes are fruit. And you know what I found out? That the term vegetable is a culinary term. It's not a botanical term. Like, vegetables are like, the term vegetable is only endemic to cooking. And I find it super interesting, but also recipes wise. Who figured out what goes with what? Like, I love experimenting with food and I love coming up with my own recipes, which oftentimes ends up being disastrous, which of course is, oh, like, I mean, I always blame my, you know, oven on it, but like, whatever. Hey, as long as I have something to blame, why would I take accountability? I just love having fun with recipes. And so today I have this idea because it's after my exam. I deserve some nutritious home cooked meal because for the past week I haven't eaten anything but fast food from the restaurant I work at because I've been working again 8.5 hours a day, and then I have university on top of that, and I just haven't had the time to cook. And I feel like now I should make the time to take the time to cook and reward myself for a job half-assed. And speaking of cooking and grocery shopping takes so much time. Also, by the time I finish work and get off of university, the supermarkets are already closed because, it was like a lot of holidays and they just had a specific schedule that ended up being like 2 hours shorter than their normal one. So by the time I was off from work, they were closed. So cooking takes so much time. When you're a child, nobody tells you that in your adulthood, 60% of your time is going to go towards grocery shopping, making food, or thinking about what to shop and cook. Legitimately, during breakfast, if I have breakfast, I start thinking what it is that I want to have for dinner. Because coming up with something fast, affordable, and tasty that is not pasta or rice is inhumanely difficult and super, super time consuming. So much of your adulthood is spent thinking about what to cook for yourself, and then 0.000000001% of that is actually going to be eating that food. And cooking is an absolute scam because it takes 2 hours to make and it takes 10 minutes to eat. And with saying 10, I'm being generous because I'm a fast eater. So 10 minutes is a lot for me because I may not be an iPad kid, but I'm a YouTube kid turned streaming platform adult. And I always have to watch something when I eat. And when I make the effort to make a nice meal, I want to make an event out of it and watch something that requires more commitment than my 20-minute sitcom episode. And I want to watch a movie, and then by the time the introduction credits are finished, like literally as we see the 20th Century Fox being introduced, I'm finished with my dessert. And I don't like this at all because I'm not savoring the food and the moment. And I think I want to buy chopsticks and start eating with chopsticks because you get far less food in a single bite than you do with a spoon or a fork. And also, I don't know if you've seen what I look like, but I am as pale as people come, which means that I cannot operate chopsticks well, meaning that I will take quite some time to eat. And that means I'd enjoy my meal and be more mindful of it as well. Because if I shove everything down my throat in 2 minutes, I'm unable to feel satiated and I end up overeating to the point that unbuttoning my jeans doesn't help. I need to take them off fully. And then on top of that, cleaning the dishes takes another 30 minutes and it's just annoying. And I'm the type of person who cannot sit and have a meal if my dishes have not been cleaned. I just hate having to do dishes, a load of dishes, after I have finished having my meal. Because after my meal, I just need to nap. So I wash the dishes as I cook, or right before I sit down and eat, which means that most of the times when I sit down to eat my warm meals, they're already cold. But it is sometimes a price I am willing to pay so that I don't have to wash the dishes afterwards. And also, there's nothing more annoying than being fed up with doing the dishes and then thinking that you're done and seeing that the final boss, the ginormous burnt pot that you forgot to put next to the sink, is waiting for you where you left it on the stove. I swear it gets me so mad. Sometimes I just consider throwing the whole pot in the trash out of anger. Honestly, all this food talk is making me hungry, and I do have two Ben& Jerry's in my freezer that I bought because it was just like 1+1 deal. And they didn't have the flavors I wanted. They didn't have the half baked. They didn't have the brownie, but come on, it's Ben& Jerry's. Even their worst flavor is amazing. So I think I'll go enjoy that now because I've been yapping too much and I feel like I've been talking super fast, which is something a lot of people criticize me for in my day-to-day life because I get very hard to follow. So I apologize if I Trisha Paytas my way into this episode. Shout out to Trisha Paytas for carrying the Pope, and rest in peace, the Pope. I want to thank you all so much for listening to this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye!